welcome to Making Comics. Today, I'm going to be talking with Cody Fernandez, Jack Irons. We're going to be talking about his recent campaign, Jack Irons #4, and about whatever else we want to talk about for about an hour. So, not sure if anybody's in here yet, but hopefully you'll start to trickle in, and we'll have a good time. If you got any questions for Cody during the meantime, make sure to shout them out in the chat, and I'll do my best to get to him. Well, I should be able to get to him. There's not that many, so. But okay, so without further ado, we'll get Cody in here. Hey, Cody, how's it going? Glad to see you again.
Yeah, same. I'm doing all right. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. So you've got a new campaign, Jack Irons #4, which is congratulations on that. It's quite an accomplishment. You're on your 4th issue. And I know if anybody deserves it, it's you, because you're the ultimate hustle man. So you're out there all the time on Twitter, social media, getting that stuff out there. So it's good to see you're on #4 now. So you want to talk a little bit about the campaign, when it started, how much longer we have to go? I have it up, actually. Let me just pull it up here real quick. And yeah, I'll just let you take over. Tell us a little bit about Jack Irons, in case nobody knows who Jack Irons is yet, and tell us about this campaign.
All righty. Well, I'm Cody Fernandez. I've been doing comics for about 4 years, 5 years nearly. Working with this, well, I guess a little bit longer. I've been doing it like where it actually is getting produced and books out to people for about those 4 years. But honestly, I've been working with Maxie for about 7 years now, and working on Jack for this will be 16 or 17 years. So it's been a long trail here, and
Yeah.
Persistent. Yes, stubborn.
I gotcha.
Either one will work, but. With it, Jack Irons, the elevator pitch, the quick one-line pitch that hopefully kind of gets imaginations moving, is a reincarnated immortal seeks freedom and purpose in galactic Armageddon. There's a lot of big terms there. I hope that kind of gets people interested. But at the end of the day, it's about, it came from where I was as a teenager, moving into adulthood and coming to terms with the greater human experience, history, all of the weight and implications and where we're marching to, all of those things, and then finding maybe your place or your purpose in it, and pushing forward with that. And so that's the reincarnated immortal part. I took a character. It was a coping mechanism for me. I took a character that had all this weight, literally part of his being. He had lived these lives. He had done these atrocities. He had been victim of these atrocities, and had now was stuck with that knowledge in a body that could not, it could not end. He's stuck in that body, and so from that, a lot of different things came. Ironverse Comics itself is built on the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. People are relatively familiar with those concepts. We kind of made them more Lovecraftian entities that manifest out of the ether from too much excess and a lot of different darknesses. And that kind of guides the storytelling. It guides a lot of what we approach with Jack Irons. And in the first 3 issues, issue 1, we introduced you to kind of Jack's character, his mind, a bit of his history. Issue 2, we introduced you to the world, its history, what Jack watched as it crumbled, and a little bit of Jack's character. And then in issue 3, we got deeper into Jack's character, his interpersonal relationships as Jack, and not so much as the past lives, and then kind of sent him on a mission. And with issue #4, we're on that mission finally. Issue 4 is kind of a departure from the storytelling that I told before. It's the start of a new arc of Jack, and it's a little bit more adventure-based, but at the end of the day, it still has the same kind of thought-provoking, conceptual nature as Jack probably I can't ever escape in my writing. I'm damn excited to get into it. I really am.
Right. Well, yeah, that's. I really enjoy Jack Irons. I've read. I don't know. I've read all of it. I think maybe the third, maybe the third one. I haven't got to yet, but I really like Jack Irons. I like the. There goes my notification, my little mouse droid from my phone. Isn't that awesome? With live streaming, it's great. And
I just did that too, so don't worry.
ever since the beginning, ever since you introduced it on Twitter, and we've been, I don't know what you call us, what, Twitter buddies, I guess.
Maybe
We
we're
don't
gonna
know.
call it acquaintances,
Yeah,
compadres. We have
yeah,
worked together, so I mean,
a little bit, yeah, a little bit, and ever since, I mean, Jack Irons has got a really cool aesthetic. I like the way he looks, obviously, because I've drawn him several
yeah.
times, and so I'm really happy to see you on number 4. By the way, in the chat,
Yeah,
Bathory Bill,
battery. Yeah.
Bathory Bill.
Yeah.
He's saying that he loves that part of it. By the way, I think when you're explaining some of, they got a little sub there. Thanks,
Oh,
Bathory Bill. Appreciate that.
excellent.
Um, so um, Now let me ask you: was there any point up to this point of this campaign, from 1 till 3, where you thought, "Man, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if people are enjoying it. I don't know if I'm getting the kind of feedback that a lot of creators. I don't know if you're this way. I know artists are this way. At least I am. Right? I can only speak for myself. But sometimes, you put your work out there, you're hoping that it will connect with some people, or at least prompt some engagement with people, right? And then when it doesn't hit, right, then you start to question whether or not, well, am I really any good at this, or is it just I'm not hitting the right audience? Maybe or has there been a time during this stretch between 1 and now the campaign 4 where you thought, man, I don't know. Like, I really like it. I really like the story, obviously, because you just got done talking about it. You've worked on this for 17 years, right? So it's like, man, maybe people don't like it, or has the reception always been good for you? Like, always uh, help build it, and give you that enthusiasm to keep going.
So at the beginning, at the end of the day, Jack Irons is I think I mentioned earlier, is kind of a coping mechanism for me. So it's a way
Right,
for me
right.
to structure these larger concepts. So I do it for me. At the end of the day, it's for me. It's a very selfish endeavor. I just have a wonderful team that helps make that selfishness something much greater. But honestly, yes, every day. To answer your question
Yeah.
in a shorter form, like every day you question that. Every day,
Mm-hmm.
every interaction, every attempt at a greater awareness. Um, always questioning that. But then I realized the scale of the thing I'm dealing with in terms of like. Even if we limit it to comics and not even just like people, then it's there's a lot of indie works. Even we can even limit it further to indie comics. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
indie work. We can limit it further to crowdfunding work, and there's a lot of indie crowdfunding work. And so
Yep.
you can look at it as a competition, and sure it is. But if you're doing something as niche as like Jack Irons, then I've always had it tempered by like, yeah, this isn't going to appeal to everybody. I made it so that there's a chance that there's aspects to appeal to anybody. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's not gonna. And even within indie crowdfunding comics fans, if you take it further to comics fans, I think there's a greater audience that could find it there. If you take it to just people in general, I think there is an amazing potential of a great audience finding Jack and really appreciating what we're doing with him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, every time you post something, like we're always trying to adapt and evolve and change with our marketing, and just keep pushing what we need to, how we need to. We started pushing into a little small animations, animatics, whatever, animated
Right.
panels. Because I just came from that. Of course, I want to see it animated, but I was like, well, movement attracts the eye. Like that's why I went to it. I was just like, well,
No, yeah,
if the paneling and the artistry isn't doing it, maybe a little wiggle here and there will get them to focus for a second while they're
yeah,
scrolling.
yeah.
Just little things, little things.
Well, yeah, and I think that, to your point, I think the little animatics in regards to like panel motion, and it gives it this another level of like professionalism type of thing. It makes it even though you might not think that, other people who are not, close to you or know you for a long time, they'll say, oh, you know what, he went the extra mile, did this, makes it look better. I mean, you see all kinds of companies do that with still images and things. So hey, Scott K, thanks for coming in, joining in. Appreciate you. So yeah, I think it's important that people, especially creators, indie creators, and the people um, that are looking for their audience within social media, realize that exactly what you said. You're not going to, your book or your creation is not going to appeal to everyone. And first and foremost, you have to be able to do it for yourself. You have to enjoy doing it. You obviously enjoy, doing Jack Irons, and so that I think is the most important thing, and that's one of the reasons why I brought it up, is because on this channel, I try to encourage indie developers, and like I tried to say before to other people, and I have to deal with this as well. Not everybody likes my art. Not everybody likes my art style. And I just have to, I've come to the realization that that's just the fact of life. Some people are going to like it, some people are not, and that's fine. Everybody has different opinions. I don't like Rob Liefeld. Sorry. I mean, not him as a person, but as an artist, right? It's just not my bag. It's just not my
No, it's
thing.
not. It's not mine either.
Yeah. So, but I understand. But I understand a lot of people do. And that's cool. And that's cool. That's fine. And so I think as independent creators, we need to realize that as well. So, let's get into the actual campaign here. Your first, it looks like your first tier, the feature tier, that's physical copy. Is that correct?
Yeah, of issue number 4. Again, we're doing the 48 pages, where about 16 of the pages are bonus story content and extra
Okay.
content. 32 is the meat of the book.
Okay. Okay. And that seems to be where the bulk of your backers are coming from. It looks like you've done some 1 through 4 bundles as well. That's good too.
I've been
And
hitting
then,
a lot of different streams that I've never been on, and apparently that is working. A lot of people, like, I have an option for issue number 1 if you look, and like I think one person snagged that. Most people who are like jumping in to my work
oh yeah, yeah.
are grabbing all 4, which I did not expect, because that's a much easier buy and it's a lower risk, right? But no, folks are like, yeah, I'll take it all, and that's been quite humbling. Quite humbling.
Right. So you also have digital bundles going on here, and
Yeah, that'll get you all 4
what's
issues and whatever bonus digital content we want to deliver at the end of the day. We've done that with every issue. There's been extra bonus content. It's kind of changed per, but we always include a lot of extra with the digital stuff.
okay? That's cool. That's cool. And then hey Scott, hey. Okay, great. You have some on your wall. That's fantastic, man. I
I'm
really like
actually
really like hearing that. Yeah.
wearing a unique shirt that also features Bruce's work today.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
the Jack Irons? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the one
Okay.
that you did with Kahuna Moko, but adjusted. Zero
Yeah.
Fox did it as a promo piece, so he adjusted it with black and put the logo up and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I need to get one of those. That's my art.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah. You,
I
you you have the merchandising store where I can go get one?
Well, what I would do if I was you, Bruce, is what I did, which is just go up, upload it yourself, and then get it printed on your own. It'll save you a couple bucks. That's
Oh,
what I did.
okay.
'Cause I'm not like certain pieces and certain things I don't sell. I just make for myself and keep.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know. Well, I mean, that's your IP. I didn't know if you'd allow me to do that.
Well,
So, but
absolutely.
if you're
Anybody who
giving
works,
me, yeah, if you're giving me permission, then I probably will do that.
no,
But
no, please do. Please do. No, that's the thing with the art team. Anybody like, even though Jack, as a like why it was made and how I approach the concepts and the story making is extremely selfish. The book itself and the concept and what's come out of it and the folks I've been able to work with and come across, like any way that it is helpful, or it can bring some joy to you, then
mhm.
please go ahead and do it.
Okay,
like,
well,
like I'm not that.
definitely.
I'm not this is the campaign here is where we make the ability to do it again. It's not from merch sales. It's not from other things. This is the
Right.
thing. And you're helping me right here doing that, and you've helped us before quite a few times. So it's
awesome.
it's no worries.
Okay, great. At least I have it recorded now. I have your express permission to do that. But no, it's cool. I think I'd like to do something like that because working freelance for other people, I don't get to share a lot of the art that I'm currently working on. Usually stuff I post is stuff I've worked on a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago type of thing. It's only because they've given me permission to post it, because if they're working on something and they want to make it like some sort of marketing, blitz on it, and they would rather I not leak it and post it ahead of time, I'm cool with that. I'm working for them. They're paying me. So I don't have a problem with that. It's just that then I don't have a whole lot to share on my, on social media, on Twitter or whatever. So, but let's see. You have now I'm curious about this misprint readers number 1 through 3. Is that pretty much as it sounds? They're just misprints of the issues, and you're offering them in a bundle. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's 5 of each issue in that bundle of 1 through 3. We ended up, so there's a story and learning curve with indie comics, especially when you dive headfirst with no knowledge of what you're doing, like I did. This was one of my experiences with the printer, which a wonderful middleman I had during this whole process, or else it would have been a total nightmare. But during this process, the first bit that we had to figure out was getting the proofs to me in a way that I felt was acceptable. I had gotten proofs from other printers a certain way, and these folks didn't deliver that. So that took a bit to get that working. And then once that was working and I had approved the proofs, then I was ready to get, we went to print. And so we went to print, and then I got my first initial 15 kind of copies straight off of the print line to me, and I looked at them, and I was like, oh, these look, well, to be honest, I thought they looked great. I was starstruck. I got to see issue number 3 in print for the first time, and I seen these new covers, and they looked good. They felt good. But then after that initial wave of enthusiasm cooled down, I was like, you know what? I better do this right and actually look at the previous issues next to, or look at these printings next to previous printings. And then when I did that, that's when I noticed there's slight color variation. There was a slight. It's been titled pixel jiggliness by folks who have been talking to me about it, but I don't know what else to call it. Where it was, the digital printing was just a little wavy on the blacks in particular. So the lettering is 100% legible, but if you got in there and looked at it, you could see what I'm talking about, like a spot little pixel.
Right.
Pixel waving, I guess. So
yeah, that's what Scott's saying. Pixel jiggly. So.
Exactly. And so that's what those are. And during that process, right, most printers, and these guys did too, they want you to send that print run back. They don't want you to open it and check all the books or any of that, right? Because it's tampering, all that fun stuff. So we followed along with that. They were at Wiki Publishing, and we followed all those orders, and we got them back on the truck to go out back to the printer so that they can do whatever they want to do with them, right? Just so that they don't set a standard that you can get free books by certain ways or whatever. Mm-hmm. I get this business. And that shipping company shipped them back to Wicked Publishing. They didn't ship them back to the printer. And so that was a whole nother headache. And then we get the books that we're supposed to have the same week from the same shipper. And then through talking to this middleman and figuring out what happened, eventually the company's like, it's just not worth paying to ship those books back to us. You guys just hold on to them. So we have 500 of each issue that is like this. And it might not be, again, we haven't looked through every book. There might be some primo copies towards the end of the print run when they had to reset things like that. But I have a video at the bottom of the campaign that goes into greater depth on the errors, the misprint errors, and kind of gets an overview of them for folks who are more interested in looking at that. But that's what that is. It was 1,500 free books that we have that we would love to get out and get to people who care less about, the collecting primo version of it. And sometimes
just something to read.
Yeah. Exactly, something to read, something that they don't have to keep primo, something they can give to a kid or a teenager who'll just leave it around, right? Something like that. And of course, again, it was 1,500 free books for us. So even if we made like 50 cents a piece, we would be in the green on it. So,
Right,
uh,
right.
and they're just being stored right now. So it would be great to offload some of those. But there's a lot of different ways we're considering managing that load. But it was a boon, and so I decided to kind of see what I could do with it.
Gotcha. I got you. Well, but that's cool. That's good that you can offer that, especially just like you said, for people who maybe don't want primo copies, just something to read and catch up with the life and times of Jack Irons and how it's going. I think that's awesome. So, looks like let's go through a couple more here. You get issue 4 and a standee. Now, you want to explain that?
It's a 3-inch standee. So I have an example I could show that is it's not the right size, nor is it the right material. So it's not much of an example. That's why I haven't put it on the campaign page. But
Okay.
and it's not cut out either. So it's a lot of knot. But this is what a standee is. Yeah, if you
Hold
want.
on. Yeah, let me get you in there.
Yeah, no worries.
Let's see here.
There you go.
I'll make
That's
you
a
full screen. Hold on a second. We're gonna make you full screen.
oh,
I'm one of these
I like it.
nuggets here. Why is it me? Why is it me doing that? Why am I big? I don't want to be big. I want you to be
Ooh,
big.
ooh,
What's
that's
going on
interesting.
there?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll just hide.
Oh, there we go. That seemed to work. I know we can't hear Bruce, but this is like an example. But what we're going to do is cut out the figure. I've already got that in the works. And they're going to be in wood instead of this plastic because the company I was working with like offered wood. So I thought that would be neat and something I haven't seen. And folks like the standees. It's going to be about twice the size as well. So this is just like a rough example of what we're doing. Again, very rough is why I hadn't put it on the campaign page. I just wanted to see how this company delivered. They're out of the UK, so that was kind of part of like how quick do they move and all that stuff. But they delivered quickly. They actually gave me 3 when I paid for 1. So that was pretty neat. And yeah, I'm excited to move forward on that part. Once I have a actual example to show, I will totally be sharing that on the campaign page and to folks.
That's great. That's cool, and it's kind of a cool little tchotchke too, as well.
Exactly.
People are doing. I think the new thing people are trying out on these campaigns are, well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's really new, and I've only heard a couple people that are thinking about trying it. Well, I think you were one. I watched one of your streams where I think you talked about doing pogs, maybe.
Some people were talking about that, so I was getting nudged to do that, and I was looking at a site and stuff for it. So it's totally possible. I did not fall through with that. What I want to do, and I didn't put stretch goals on this campaign yet. I want to see how it does because we have quite a hefty goal on this campaign to make sure everybody's paid well. Um, so I'm trying not to put that, but I would love to do another set of the metal cards that I sent out last campaign. So
Oh,
I'm gonna do.
you want to show
Uh,
those?
Yeah, sure. So what I did last campaign is I hand signed all of these, right? You know, kind of see my signature there, and sent these out. I worked with a fella, the moniker, and I think the company's Phoenix Animation Studios, who put those together. Wonderful, very quickly. Pulled my butt out of the fire on that because most of the other companies I had contacted kept ghosting me when I was just asking for quotes. And pretty annoying. But he was quick. He got right to it. I mean, within a week, he had them made and shipped out to me, which was just incredible. Um, and I like them, and I like that experience, and I'd love to do that again. It's kind of a nice personal thank you. So you get something signed because it's hard when the books are going to like a fulfillment company to get them signed, especially when that fulfillment company is a couple states over.
Right, right.
Um, and so this was a way I could hand sign and kind of put that personal touch to things. And I'd love to do that again, but that comes after we fund. I cut
Yeah.
as many corners as I could to get that funding goal as low as I could, and it still like scared the hell out of me. But I was like, okay, well, it's what I need, so we're gonna try it.
Well, I mean, I think you have what 47 days left, and you're doing pretty well. So
Yeah,
just got to keep plugging along.
Yep, I think we got a shot. I 100% believe we got a shot. Probably a good shot. With Jack Irons 3, for instance, we had like 6,500 second to last day out of a 10K goal, and wonderful community came together and got us funded that final day. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the energy's there. It just sometimes needs a push. And that's what I've been doing. I mean, this is, I think, my 10th live stream this week, so I am pushing at it. I am pushing, and I haven't done that since the first campaign. Even issue number three's campaign, I was much quieter. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey
Right.
already.
Right. Well, let's see. Scott K says that Wicked Publishing should do some pogs, and then I believe Mrs. H is right. I think I was in that stream when you guys were talking about that, and she says, no, stop. Pogs are mine. So there
Yes,
you go.
yes, she's
There
claiming
you go.
them. She's
So
claiming
definitely some fans of Pogs. That's
them.
that brings me back a few years. I'll tell you that right now. So the next tier you have here, the next thing you're offering, is really interesting to me because I don't know if I've mentioned it enough in the past. I'm sure people are tired of hearing about it, but I did work in the game industry and I do 3D modeling. I work in ZBrush and Maya. I've been trying to teach myself Blender because Blender's free. Yeah, Maya and 3D Studio is expensive, but I do have a copy of ZBrush and I do work in ZBrush. But you've got a hand painted figurine. Now I'm curious. You've got 5 of those. Is that right? Are you 3D printing them yourself or?
No, we went through a fella. What's his moniker? Model C16, something like that, on Twitter.
Okay.
He did the whole 3D model of the figure a long time ago, and had talked to Wicked about just like making an assembly line kind of deal with them. And with issue 3, I did the same thing that I'm doing here, except I charged significantly less. And then I went through the process of actually trying to paint them and stuff through a hard time in my life, and it was kind of demanding of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I raised the price significantly this go to do
All
it
right.
again. And I made sure to limit the tiers. We sold 3 of them last go. This was my practice model.
Here, yeah. Let me pop.
That was the practice model. Of course, you can see the gun broke off, of course, but that was my, this is the personal one I kept. So, I mean, I've enjoyed that experience. I like it. It's not like if I had worked more directly with the 3D modeler, there's things I would have changed with that. But we're going again. We have like a good 20 or 25 printed already, so they're available in gray if people want to print them through Wicked Publishing right now. But yeah, that's what I do is I buy them and then I paint them on stream. Good 3 to 7 hours per figure, depending on what I'm doing with them. And then to ship them out with a certificate of authenticity and numbered and all that. And this is the last time I'm going to do that, certainly with these figures. So that's why I was like, put a premium price on it if anybody wants them, and they can pay me for it. And so far, one person did this go, which was kind of crazy. I didn't expect it. It was nice. It was a good boost, I think, day one. Yeah, I would love to keep doing that kind of stuff. In fact, I got this new camera in just so I can use it for doing more painting streams. It's really good at the up close compared to my old camera. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Well, that's really cool. I mean, I thought about when I was getting ready to do the rec, and then I've been thinking and trying to figure out a good way to redo the campaign. That's one of the things I wanted to offer. I was going to model in print myself the members of the members of the Phalanx crew, just the bust though, right? Just the bust, and I thought, okay, this would be cool, but I'm going to have to make sure I allot myself a lot of time. Obviously, I got to have the model already done, but printing, usually takes between 4 and 6 hours, depending on how big the print is. So then you got to weigh how many you're going to offer and things like that. So I was really interested to see that you have that up there. So and how it's doing and if people are interested in it or not. So it's really cool.
Yeah, they'll. I mean, it really depends. I think a lot of people like it. It's an excuse to support our work at a price like they can justify to themselves, right? Some people will have that level to kind of like do that, but they still want something in return to just kind of justify it. So I think that's a great way for it. But if you can offer them cheaper and unpainted, for instance, too, I think there's some people who would jump on that. Our models have that gun defect, which has bugged the hell out of me every time I've had to repair it. He made the gun barrel a little too thin, and since Jack that version of it, and he's changed the version of it thankfully since. But the version that I sent out there was 3 pieces: the base, Jack, and his cape. So the arms and stuff were sticking out the whole time in shipping, so that would bend the resin and snap off the gun barrel. Now the 2 arms are actually separate pieces and shipped separately, so that should have solved that problem. I still would have liked the gun barrel sticker, honestly. Again, there's a few things I would have changed on that, but nonetheless, it was a very cool experience and something I didn't expect to be able to do, especially like at this level of indie. So it was a neat opportunity. I really appreciated it.
Right. And Bathroyd Bill, Pogs are from the olden times. That's the best. No, they're an old thing. They used to be very popular, and
I showed off the one I ended up with.
let's
Because the
see
guy
here.
noticed it, and it was it looked like a cowboy. It looked like Jack, so he gave it to me. That's the one I ended up with.
Yeah, there you go. So, and then it looks like the rest of your offers that have already sold out, which is cool. Our
The
original
original art
pages.
was this was the first time we were doing that, and it's a real boon for Maxie. I mean, he does all traditional. Well, not again. I used to say all traditional, but to be honest, he's adapted some digital tricks, especially like in cleaning up inks and stuff that just speed up his process. But still, every page it has a page right that's relative to it, and he's been hanging on to them. So what we're at, this would be between issues 1 and 3, it's like 86 pages. So and then we're adding. So he's like over 100 traditional art pages that he's just holding on to. And so we decided, to help him out and help things out. And we've actually got a cool way to make sure that we're not actually shipping them from Argentina, which is nice.
Nice.
We decided to try this and see what we could offer it and what we could get for it. I think these things were just another one of those premium things that people can justify. And maybe, that they are paying to help us keep creating, and then they can own a direct piece of that creation. I think that's pretty neat. So I think we'll probably do that on future campaigns as well. And I've spoken to him, and we'll probably offer original art pages through ironversecomics.com after this campaign finishes as well, just to help them out on those levels.
Yeah, because it's a good revenue stream for actual comic artists, right? To be able to sell their original art. Now, some artists like myself right now only work digital, so I don't actually have original pages. But I've talked to Corey, and he mentioned about having me do a cover for the book as well. And I talked to him about doing an original, obviously original, but doing it on paper, right?
Traditionally,
Doing it on Bristol board and stuff, and seeing, if we can't sell that as well. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's always a good option, especially for the artist. That's one of the things I was going to ask you is if you've paid, obviously you've paid for him to do the art already, but he owns the originals, correct?
Oh, absolutely. That's always been part of it. And he's been able to raise his page rate between books as well. And I've been happy to provide us part of why our goal went up this go. It was him and, of course, Steve as well, who's now doing an ongoing for Scout. So their time is at a premium, and they love this project. But, you have to make it worth it. And I totally agree, and they deserve every bit of it and more. I'm glad to hear it, and if we are capable of doing it, then wonderful. And I think we are. It just makes the mountain just a little bit taller, but it makes the victory that much more glorious, right?
Yep.
And with that original art, also comes the cost of the Bristol board, which actually isn't that cheap. People really don't think about all those original investments when you're doing traditional art. The Bristol board, the actual inks, and then you got your time investment, of course. But actually doing that it's not cheap. It's not cheap, and I would love for him to earn back some more of that, because that he can think of it of those art supply investment going from his page rate, right? It lowers his page rate, and so if you're able to that back, then it's very helpful. And I think that's a good way to help keep artists too, is to keep them happy, keep them paid, keep them fed.
Yeah, because it can be rough for some artists, especially if they're not well known, right? But for every book that comes out, I mean, I'm sure that his exposure is becoming better and better, and probably be able to land better, more gigs. Like you said, get higher page rates and things of that nature. So that's always a good thing. So it's good that you have that on there. Just like you said, it'll help them out. But So yeah, the campaign is you got lots of good sample art on here. Obviously, number 4 stuff. And you get perks listed. You have add-ons going on. That's all good. You know more about this stuff than I do because you've done more than I have. So I like that you do this. This is something I wanted to talk about real quick. Down here, you've got where the funds go. I really like that because it kind of lays out why you're asking for the money you're asking for. Now, obviously, you just would hope that people would trust you, right? And say,
The
hey,
first couple times, but this time, like
yeah,
when I was asking for so much, I was like, yeah, I better actually show at least a visual representation of
right.
why I
And
have
you,
to do this.
yeah, and make no mistake, I'm not saying that people have the obligation to do that. No, not at all. I'm not saying that. You set your price, and this is the product you're going to deliver, and people can either decide to pay for it or not. All I'm trying to say is this particular thing here helps people realize what you just got done saying. Exactly what this stuff costs to produce. It's not like you're pocketing. I'm asking for $100,000. I'm going to pocket $90,000 of it. It's not the way it works, right?
No.
So I think this is really helpful for people who are on the bubble trying to decide or have some weird ideas about how indie comics are produced and published and stuff. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
And another factor of that too, and why I had it set up as I did is I really try to make sure that the artists' rates are also not clear because that's their job, that's their duty, and that's their decision what their rate is for any given project, right? So that's
mm-hmm.
why it is just coupled as art. And it, again, you'll notice there's no writing marketing budget on that
Right.
either. In fact, I've put we're going to have the whole book done by hopefully by the campaign's end. I mean, if we can, then Maxie actually going to be able to get a bonus because he's going to be able to sell that cover traditionally on the
Nice.
campaign. That would be
Nice.
that's the hope. But in fact, I've lowered the goal because I've invested on the pages so far. That's the bit, right? Is I do this out of passion and love and just hope and just the enjoyment and engagement with the community and folks who enjoy the work. I've gotten a gig in comics, 2 gigs to be fair, 2 gigs out of doing Jack. One of them paid quite well, and I think that page rate standard that guy gave me kind of spooked off other gigs. Again, why I don't try to publicize anybody else's page rates because maybe there's a project you really want to work on and you would be willing to work lower, or
Right.
and you don't want that person to just ignore you because you're out of budget, right? The things like that, and so because I've experienced it, and so it's been a trip, it's been a journey, and I've gotten a foothold. I've gotten that kind of bit, but it's not once been a profitable endeavor for me, except for all the profitable in terms of finances, profitable in so many other ways for me. But
Right.
in terms of finances, it's not, and I don't look at it that way. In my personal bit, I want to make sure that the team's taken care of and it's profitable for them and for their time and their energy and all of that. But at the end of the day, I'm so stoked if I get a comic out.
Right. I got
That's enough.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't turn down any extra money and profit that you would make off the
Oh
book, though, right?
God, no. But then it would probably get invested in the machine anyway. So
Right. The whole Iron Verse. That's do you want to talk a little bit about that?
yeah,
The concept you have for the Iron Verse and things that are involved. And hey, real quick though, I got to shout out to this is my buddy Jayla Chase. John, hey, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. Glad you stopped in. While you're in here, hit that like button, bro. And if you haven't subscribed, shame on you. So, but it's good
I
to
think
see
the
you.
first time I was on your channel, Bruce, I was
Yes,
talking with
yes,
Jayla Chase, and we were talking writing. I remember quite well.
yeah. And you know what really cool about John is that he has a damn radio voice. Like my voice sucks. But his nice deep voice, clear. He's very articulate. Because he's one of those college guys, right? He went to
Oh,
college.
good college guy.
But yeah, dude, you need to get on here sometime. Give me a boost, bro. Anyways, thanks for coming, John. I appreciate you. Okay, and so so go ahead. I'm sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt. Go ahead with the
no.
Ironverse and
Gotta interact with chat. Gotta love the chat.
yep.
No, so Ironverse comics, and I spoke a little bit of how Jack Irons kind of fit into that, but it's the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse are like I call them the pillars. They're everything's built on their machinations and their desires. They're the antagonists, but they're also like the driving forces of what everything happens in Ironverse. And so Jack Irons is the first title, and it's the one that's provided the bedrock. But since then, we've added Cactus Coyote, the manga that's been released. You can read for free off of IronverseComics.com. There's also a 15-page Ashcan that is nearly finished, but the artists keep being a bit slower than Dollar Coins would like.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's paid for and everything. He's just waiting for him, as happens sometimes in art, and
Right.
it just does. And then when I came up with Jack Irons, the original concept of Ironverse comics and all of that, the Four Horsemen were those pillars still. But I originally thought of something like very basically like a heavy metal Justice League in space, and it's evolved since to be more of a almost a One Piece kind of crew gathering to go on an adventure kind of concept. And since then, again, there's Cactus Coyote, and we actually have another title in production that's still kind of secret. I've been hinting at back and forth that I'm kind of excited because it's more of a almost more traditional Western, post-apocalyptic Western fare than Jack is. I
Mm-hmm.
think folks will actually like get a lot of what they expect from Jack when they're looking at it from this title, which could do a lot of good.
Mm-hmm.
We play with a lot of different time periods in Ironverse as well. So these three titles that come out, one is about 20 years before, 80 years before Jack's main adventure is starting here in issue 4, and then Cactus Coyote is about 20 years after Jack's like main adventure concludes on Earth. And so we're working from different ends towards middles, and the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse is the main bit, right? It is the driving force. These beings manifest when a certain level of their particular flavor of darkness hits a crescendo on a planet, and then they start trying to perpetuate themselves on that planet. And most commonly, it's one. As a very warlike culture that manifests war, and he conquers that planet. A very business oriented and maybe transhumanist, or I don't even know what the word would be for transalienist. I don't even know what that would be,
Right.
but a very cyborg oriented culture would manifest famine on that planet, and he would take it and turn it into his work, and then go to his greater cosmic self, the cosmic famine, the cosmic war, the cosmic plague, and
Right.
then perpetuate themselves, because their goal as a Lovecraftian kind of being is to turn all of reality into themselves. They each want their own flavor to be the truth, and except for Death, who's going to be a little persnickety throughout it, because he's already pretty omnipresent. He doesn't really need to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
But So that's kind of what drives. So we have different characters who have come from different walks of life in that. Cactus Coyote was one of Plague's biggest experiments. He was still kind of is, but he was used as a bio dump. His species has there's like super like energetic, high energy, loving, cuddly beings, but they can have different kinds of quirks, and coyotes, and I'm not sure if Plague did this to him or Coyote had it naturally, but he has an extra dimension in his stomach, and so Plague just used him as a bio waste dump, and so he just had him prison there and just dump shit in him.
Right.
For forever. Eventually, he escapes and becomes a smuggler, and
Mm-hmm.
so he used that pocket in his stomach to move throughout Horseman territories, or the Anu Confederation, which is the loose fifth pillar of Ironverse comics, and do his quote unquote legitimate business. And then there's like Lady Silverado, who was Earth War, got really upset with this stalemate. He's the strongest. He should be winning. So he decided his limit. He limited himself by being in this single form. So he literally manifests, cuts off part of himself, and wants it to learn and grow so he can reintegrate it later with this new experience that he can't do by himself. And that's Lady Silverado, and she finds her own path to escape her father's shadow.
Mm-hmm.
The Stephen Hugh, the Golden Monk, he has a unique uh, uh, feature in Ironverse where he's not directly guided by the Horsemen. He's trying to repair the damage that's already been done. Most of our heroes are simply trying to stop further damage or some other personal vendetta with these creatures, but he's trying to return nature to Earth, and that tackles the more Eastern side and Eastern philosophies, while Jack tackles a lot of Western mythology and Western tropes. We've had these cooking for a long time. So far, just that Secret Project and Cax Coyote have actually been able to move forward because the creators came to me and wanted to do something and have been pushing it forward themselves. And so that's been a wonderful boon on me because I could run multiple titles, but I cannot afford to run multiple titles.
Right, right.
And so that's been the thing, and we've got a very large cosmic journey to take folks on if they're willing to, as the tagline's been lately, help us face galactic Armageddon.
Right, right. Well, you have a lot going on there. You're going to be busy for a while.
Yes.
So, and I think we talked about the Golden Monk, right?
Yes, indeed. I still got
I
two
think-
scripts sitting there waiting for when I have the opportunity to pay you.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I am so flooded with stuff. Like John, who is just in here. Oh, by the way, Sauron, the Dark Lord of Mordor, decided that he was going to visit us. No, hey Sauron, it's good to see you, man. I'm glad you showed up. But yeah, John, we need to get his comic script done, which is Go to Hell, which is a really good story. And I haven't had the time. I've been pushing all this, I got to do stuff I'm getting paid for right now. So, that's the way I pay a mortgage. So
No
I have to do those, but
and if folks haven't caught it, Woodrow is part of the name on Twitter, but I've been seeing the pages that he's shared of your work, and I love it. I love it. The Oni,
yeah,
it's looking great. It's looking great.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. We're trying. He doesn't want to show a whole lot of it, but he's got the. I can't remember their names. I think they're a husband and wife, or a girlfriend and boyfriend team. I think they're husband and wife. I'm not sure. They're colorists. They're also artists too, because I think they did. I think they did another prequel to this book that I'm working on that he's going to release, and they're doing the colors on there, and they're doing a fantastic job over my line art, and it makes it look really good. So, and then I've been busy with I do stuff for. I've been doing just concept stuff for various people, and then I don't know if I don't know. I won't give their name, but I just got done finishing 4 pages for somebody that's getting ready to do the campaign for their second book. I think it's going to be in the summertime or something. Right. So I have so many pages to do.
Yes.
I really enjoy doing pinups more, but I like doing sequential artwork. Help tell the story, so that's a lot of fun too. So, but so campaign's going right now. 47 days left. Anybody watching this now, or if you're going to come and watch the video later, that's cool too. But if it's after 47 days, you'll be too late. So don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah. So I really like to see you get to your goal, 13,500. You're right around 4.1. You got plenty of days.
I mean, we're just a little over a
so.
6. Yeah, we're a little over 6 of the way through the campaign, but we're a little over a quarter of the way funded. So close to a third funded. So there's a good chance. And it's unlike a lot of our campaigns, and a lot of campaigns, we haven't so far had a lull, which has been nice. We've had consistent trickle in backers. There hasn't been a day without backers, which I'm used to, weeks without backers. So I'm hoping I can keep that going. How I'm doing it is these wonderful live streams and meeting a lot of new folks and all of that. So I'm going to keep that going the whole time, and we'll see if I can pull a rabbit out of my hat.
I think you'll be able to do it. You got some loyal followers, and if you can get some new people in, you've got your mailing list going on now, right? Too. So I think I don't know. I don't know if I put that in the description, the link to the mailing list, but I'm sure that if people hit you up, I did put your Twitter link in there. So, and a link to the campaign. But if people hit you up, I'm sure you can give them the link to your mailing list. And
Everything's up on ironversecomics.com all the time. Just go up to contact or crowdfunding, depending on what you're looking for.
right, right. So I did want to ask you, since you mentioned it right now,
Yeah.
do you find this is your fourth campaign? Do you find that going on these live streams actually helps a lot, a little, or none at all?
It depends. It really does depend.
Depends on who it is, right? Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes, right? It
yeah,
depends on the
yeah,
audience sometimes.
yeah.
But it also, like, it is certainly was like a key factor in the first campaign to get issue two's line art done.
Hmm.
I know it was. It was making those connections, that networking, and then trying to provide an honest, authentic face to the work, and then having the work be quality. It's a very good combination.
Right.
I know it does that. So I did. I had a real rough time wanting to do it this go. Like issue three, it was tough, especially because I had misbudgeted with issue number three, and I was looking at it, I was seeing us crawl, and I was like, okay, it's all right. I can launch it again with a corrected budget. We'll be fine. And then the last 2 days, folks are like super hyped. We got to get this done. I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's do our best. And then we actually did it, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, I'll figure this out. And I did. I figured it out. I got it done. But
Hmm.
still, it was one of those cases where like I wasn't 100% in. And with this campaign, I almost came to it with a similar thing where I need to launch it. I need to have this awareness, and I want to progress forward. I've been sitting on this script for like a year and a half, which is very rare for me to sit on a script that long before it gets produced. And I just knew it was the timing as well. Maxie's been doing a lot of different projects. There was Kids and Monsters by the Gifted Rebels out of Lawson. He did 72 pages of it. It looks incredible, of course it does.
Hmm.
And he did a short in the Kill Journal, which that was one of the gigs I worked on.
Oh,
And
okay.
then he's worked on the Lost pages from the Diaz brothers. Zaid Comics, I believe, is their imprint. And
Right.
so he did a short with Stephen Cannon also, which was kind of neat. I wonder how that writer found them for Heavy Metal. Which was really neat. It
Wow.
was really cool
Yeah.
to see them published in Heavy Metal. It was just a 6-page little short, but still wonderful to see that team on that in that work, which was it
No.
was
Yeah.
but yeah, again, I wonder how that writer found him. But nonetheless, um, I was pretty. It's been a journey, and doing the live stream bit, like I was all of last year was like I took hit after hit after hit last year. Like anything that could go wrong went wrong last year, and
Hmm.
so. It was hard for me to persevere, but I did. But I still haven't recovered. I still, you don't a
Right.
few of the hits I took, you don't recover from. You live with them, but they become part of you. But
Hmm.
so that's been part of like I'm not like in 100% footing. So I was like, I don't know if I have the energy to go out and meet a bunch of new people and do all of that. But I got nudged, and so the thing that usually can get me to do something is when somebody else is relying on me to do that thing,
Hmm.
and it was me, trying to rely on myself to go do that thing. I can kind of justify not doing it. I'm just letting myself down.
Right.
But it was another fellow who was like, no, you're not. You might think you're doing everything you can for it right now, but here's another option of things that you're not doing for you.
Right. Right.
And I was looking at it, and I was like, well, crud, I asked to get help. Like I asked the universe to give me some help, and here it is looking at me. I can't say no, and so that's got me on all these other live streams. It got a bunch of people, in and interested, new people. We aren't getting a huge influx of previous backers, which is surprising and not surprising at the same time. I can see it from both perspectives, especially with like the
You
older and all
you
of that.
are or you are not.
Are not seeing a huge influx of
Okay.
previous backers. I saw that
Okay.
when I was doing the mailing list. I ran the pre-launch list for like 6 months, and
Hmm.
it never came close to previous mailing lists that I've done, except for issue one, which didn't really have a mailing list, or issue 1, 2 campaign. But issue three's campaign, I had like 450 signups or something before we launched, and This one, I barely cracked 180, and of course we had 460 backers or whatever, and it was being delivered to those backers as well. So,
Mhm.
I know that our missteps definitely contributed to that, but it's also like the world at the moment is kind of hard, and it's hard to
Yeah,
justify
yeah,
investing in these places and these things, right? But again, and kind of what I put in the campaign video, I very much trust the work will find the people it needs to, as long as I keep leaving the doors open for those opportunities. And I was reminded that I had closed a door that I didn't need to close. So
right.
yeah, that's kind of been what this has been.
So speaking of campaign video, let's play it real quick. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. Hold on. This is what I want to do. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's right. I never take these.
Cody, I don't know what I'm doing in front of the computer, man. I'm just, I used to ride covered wagons to work, so I don't remember all this shit.
It's
Can
all
you
right.
hear?
Couldn't
Can you
even
hear the
afford.
video? Can you hear the video?
No, wait. No, I can't hear it, and it's chugging, which is interesting. Hmm.
It's chugging. You say?
Yeah, on
Is
my
it
end,
frozen up?
and I can't hear it, which is interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. I stop. Oh, okay, then I guess that would be my camera. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing I can do on my end. But I'm just like, it's very curious. It's
Okay.
very curious because I know Streamyard's pretty clean on it. Like it's
Right, right. It
yeah.
should be pretty much the same thing. I'm going to pop us out of this and I'm going to play. Just type in private chat to me if you can hear it. Okay. Can
Okay,
you do that for
perfect.
me?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, let me see if I can't figure. I don't know why that
Yeah,
wouldn't do
neither do
that.
I.
Uh,
Usually just sharing the window is enough to do it.
yeah, I would think. I'm not sure why it would do that.
To be honest, I cringe every time I watch this video too. I'm very stiff reading from a script from it. It was very thrown together. But people seem to
well,
like it, so I'll take it. I'll take it.
you know what? Let me ask the chat. Uh, Chat, can you type in anybody that's here? Can you type in the chat? Let me know if you can hear the audio off of this Indiegogo off Cody's intro video. Okay, I'm gonna play it here. So just let me know really quick in chat if you can hear it. Chat, can you hear? Can you hear that audio from the video?
Yeah, we can't from here. That's all we can tell you.
Well, I mean, it's not a total loss. You get to see all the cool visuals.
Exactly. Oh, okay, Battery Bill says nope. So I guess it is the same thing we're
Nope.
seeing.
All right. Well, you know what? My fault. I'm sure it's my fault.
Ah,
I'm sure there's something I have to do that I can't figure out.
it should be straightforward. It could be
I
Melon's
know,
fault.
right?
It could be Melon's fault.
Yeah. Could be Melon's fault, but
Again, though, if you
mm,
folks are interested, you can go to IndieGoGo and watch it, or you can go to Iron Verse Comics on YouTube
yeah.
and watch it. If it interests you, it's just a very simple pitch with some beautiful artwork.
There's a link in the description of the video to the Indiegogo. So if you want to check it out, make sure you do that. So Sorry about that, Cody. I was for sure that it would be good,
Yeah, no, I would think so too. I would have been the same. No worries.
but yeah. So yeah, I hope people watching, if they haven't already, I'm sure the people watching probably already back, but let's get that word out there and get some more backers going on. So, but is there anything else you'd like to talk about, chat about? Anything else you want to push or anything interesting going on? Have you seen the new Batman?
I have not seen the new Batman. I was kind of interested. I have no idea though. I have no idea how that's going to be. At least, I've kind of like a lot of people. I checked out a little bit of the mainstream, even when there's something kind of interesting. I'm kind of like, I'm doing something else. But I don't know, man. I am a little bit interested in that. I'm curious if he's another. Anytime somebody takes up the mantle, I'm curious how they do with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say that I checked out on Marvel and DC books a while ago, just because they're not. To me, they're not interesting anymore. There's no. The last thing that I was interested in mildly was the Batman story with him and Catwoman, right?
Oh, the Tom King
When
one.
they were going to get married, yeah, when they were going to get married and stuff, I thought that was kind of interesting, and then it turned into a soap opera,
Yeah.
and then the whole, oh, I'm going to put this twist in here for you guys. See, and it's like, no, I'm not interested. I'm not. I don't care. I don't care. You killed it for me. You killed it for
Yeah.
me. So,
You had something
uh,
dropped it. A lot of writers in the mainstream at the moment, and I'm not gonna say all of them. There's some very cool talents doing some cool stuff in the mainstream. It's just it's hard. It's so hard to find, and you got to really be looking for it. And if you're looking that hard, I do recommend checking indie because you're gonna find something very unique and
oh no, yeah,
probably
yeah.
much more up your alley, right? Than the
Well,
mainstream, which has
yeah,
a production formula.
yeah, no, I'm a big indie fan. I've always loved indie comics from way back in the day. You know, Cerebus the Aardvark and Love and Rockets and The Crow and uh, indie comics have always just been better for me. I'm serious. I
No,
mean,
I
because
agree.
they could always explore different kind of storytelling or different kind of storylines, and it's no fault of Marvel or DC, but they've always been known for superheroes. Now, some of their, like, the Vertigo line was a really good line of comics, had some good titles in it, and I think it was Marvel. Was it Marvel or the Epic line?
Yes, yes. I collected all Gru through Epic.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, Grew the Wanderer, right?
Yeah, it's so much fun.
And you know what? I met him. I met
Oh,
Sergio.
really?
Yeah,
I bet
at
he's
a
there.
convention. No, oh man, he's funnier than hell. He is
Just the
really,
writing and everything, the personality he puts into those
yeah,
books is just
yeah,
it's
yeah,
wonderful.
really good person. When I was self publishing back in the '80s, I met him. I met you know who Michael Kaluta is? Mike Kaluta.
The name sounds very familiar, but no.
Okay, well, he's an older artist, but I met him at a convention. Really nice guy, down to earth. He's actually looked at my book at the time, and God bless him. He gave me encouragement, even though he probably knew that the book didn't look that good. But I was only 20 years old at the time, and so I'm sure he didn't want to crush my dreams, right?
Yes.
So, but a really good guy, and so I miss those days of comics when old Iron Man run with the Blood Brothers as the supervillains of Iron Man, and I mean, I can actually say I liked Iron Man before he became popular because he wasn't
Yeah.
popular back in the
Oh no,
'80s,
he was
right?
like a C-lister forever.
Yeah,
Forever.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
Cap was kind of the Avengers as a concept were
yeah,
C-listers for a very long time. I mean, Spider-Man was like their go-to, and
yeah.
X-Men for a good
No,
chunk.
Spider-Man and X-Men.
Yeah,
X-Men had their big run, and that was big back then. But I was always an Iron Man fan. I had every single book from number one think it was all the way up to about 218, I think. And
Few runs
of
like that
course,
anymore either.
I know, right? And
Reboot after 12, please.
right, but yeah, then you get 40 different covers, right? Which I can't stand. But and that's one of the reasons why I don't keep up with
Yep.
the mainstream books anymore, right? And like I said, indie comics have always been my go to. Such good books were out there. Boris the Bear, um, shoot, but I mean, even the early now, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one through
Yeah.
five.
Yeah.
That book was written for adults, and I'm not sure if people realize that, but
Yes, very
Teenage
much
Mutant Ninja
so.
Turtles, yeah, it was very dark and very
Sold out of their
adult.
van.
Yeah, yeah,
Those guys earned every bit of fame they got.
yeah, they did. I think I read one time they borrowed the money. I think they borrowed $5,000 from their one of their grandmothers or something
Yeah.
to do the book. Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. And what's funny is that's when my book came out the same time their book came out, and of course they went like this, and I went like this. I didn't do too bad. I sold at the peak. I sold 7,000 copies of a book. Right.
That's punching above what Jack's been selling. Just saying.
Yeah, but you have to remember those are to distributors and not to actual. I have no idea how many
We're actually.
actual customers bought
That's
books, right?
fair. That's fair.
But it was a lot tougher to publish back then. That's for
Yes,
sure than it is
significantly,
now.
and the networking and all that, just completely different world to do it.
Yeah, no, you had to hit conventions and you had to just go out there and put yourself out there and meet people because you didn't have the internet. There was no internet. But yes, people, there used to be a time when there was no internet
Yeah,
and cell phones.
generation right under me. I don't think they can imagine
Right,
it.
right. So yeah, so I guess the answer to my question is no. You haven't seen the Batman yet, and neither have I.
No,
I haven't seen it yet
but
either.
if I got the opportunity to go, like I went and saw Spider-Man: No Way Home, and I was very surprised by that.
Did you like it?
I did. I did. I
Mhm.
didn't know how I'd feel about it, but like as a pure injection of nostalgia, they handled it quite gracefully, in my opinion. I was very surprised. I didn't
Right.
expect that kind. I thought, usually when they go for nostalgia bait, they're very heavy-handed, and it feels like a milking machine. It didn't feel that way with that film, which was again very surprising for me because I wasn't a big fan of the previous two Spider-Man films. Like Tom Holland's fine, but like the plots and the stories they approached, I didn't really care for. But this
Mhm.
one, what they were able to pull off, particularly the third act, the first two acts are in it, was really cool. Really cool.
All right. Well, we're getting late. I mean, we ran about an hour and 40 minutes. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I do want to ask you though
Yes.
one question.
Okay.
So lately, I've been watching a lot of westerns, and it's twofold reason why I like westerns. I especially like spaghetti westerns, and two other reasons is because are you familiar with Cal Jameson?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We've been talking. He has a story he wants to do called 13 Bones, and it's set in the Old West. It's kind of like a Weird West thing. The guy's like, he's a Haitian cowboy. And his name's John Baptiste. And so I've been wanting to get reference. So I've been watching some Westerns. And have you watched any of the prequel to Yellowstone called 1883?
No. No.
Okay. Um, I was just curious if you've seen it, what your take on it was. I mean, I like it, kind of like a TV series.
Yeah.
It gets a little long winded sometimes, but it has really good visuals. The overall story is pretty good, and but it takes place in 1883 on the Oregon Trail, which I kind of thought in the 1860s that was kind of like it started to phase out because of the Transcontinental Railroad type of thing,
Mhm.
So I didn't think there was too many wagon trains going out west, at that time, 1883. So, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty good. So I was just curious if
Okay,
you
no,
watched it.
I'm always curious to hear new stuff. Most of the time, like I'm so like I'm stuck decades behind myself. Even like
Mhm.
sometimes before I was born, I'm stuck. So like, I haven't caught up to much like modern anything, TV, movies, comics. Like indie, I try and be on a slight cutting edge of that, just because that's where I'm at. Right, you want to be aware of works around you, what they're doing, how they approach things, all that. But otherwise, yeah, I don't. Gaming, I come kind of close, but even then, I'm stuck for 5, 10 years in the past sometimes.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, no, and it's not because quality stuff hasn't been done. Because I like there's a lot of folks who just are happy to um, take the piss out of everything being made now because there is the overall sound being made now isn't that pleasant. But there are some amazing things being made all the time, whether it's in mainstream comics or it's indie game development, mainstream game development, and so I keep an ear to the ground. But like it's very rare that I have the opportunity to engage with it. As I got older, it's been more trying to keep the wheels on my own buggy.
I hear you. I mean, I do the same thing. I mean, the only time I ever watch shows is when I'm working and I can watch it right here, on I have I don't know. I have three monitors, okay? I have a Dell tablet basically, which is a monitor that I draw on. And then I have two 32-inch monitors right here on my desk that, I'll watch a movie on one or I'll look, whatever. Probably overkill, right? But
No,
that's the
not these
only way I
days.
can.
I've seen
That's
no.
the yeah, but that's the only way that I can catch any kind of entertainment. I
Yeah,
don't
well,
really have
cool.
much time, but yeah. So no, I was just curious if you
Yeah,
saw
no,
that
that
or
sounds
what.
interesting. I've always been a Costner fan, so I am aware of Yellowstone, but I didn't. I never caught into it. Never checked it out yet. But
Well, Yellowstone is.
oh, did I lose you, or did you lose me, or did we just lose each other? I don't know. It looks like I'm still moving on my end. See my hands moving left, right, all around, flashing. Think we lost Bruce. Taking over the stream. I'm hijacking, and it's been chosen. It's mine now. Thank you, folks, for allowing me to take this. Yep, we lost Bruce. All right. Well, that's too bad. I guess this is mine now. Make sure to check out Jack Irons issue number 4 live on IndieGoGo right now. If you're curious and haven't jumped into our Weird Space Western Armageddon, please check out IronVerseComics.com. Lots of ways to dive in there. And thank you folks so much for joining us. No, I'm hoping Bruce will show back up, but we'll see. I'll hang around either till I'm dropped on the stream or he shows up. So.